The stars burned cold above the shattered husk of Zilara, a planet reduced to ash and echoes. Among the ruins, a figure stumbled through the debris, her bare feet bleeding on jagged metal, her breath ragged in the thin, acrid air. She was called Veyra, though names meant little when you were the last of your kind. Her silver skin, once luminous under her world's twin suns, was dulled by soot and despair. She had no home, no clothes, no hope, only the weight of survival pressing her forward, step by broken step. In the distance, a faint hum pierced the silence, a sound alien to this graveyard. Veyra froze, her heart pounding. Was it salvation, or the final note of her extinction? Veyra's world had crumbled 6 cycles ago when the harvesters descended. They were machines, relentless and unfeeling, stripping planets for resources and leaving nothing behind. Her people, the Elithar, fought bravely, their bioluminescent bodies glowing defiantly in the dark. But courage was no match for cold steel. Veyra hid in a crevice as her family's light faded, their screams swallowed by the roar of destruction. When the harvesters left, she emerged to find silence, a silence so deep it felt like a wound. She was 16 then, a child by Elithar standards, but the ruins aged her faster than time ever could have. For years, she scavenged, wrapping herself in scraps of thermal fabric torn from wrecked ships, drinking condensation from rusted pipes. Hunger was her constant companion, gnawing at her insides until she forgot what fullness felt like. Worse was the loneliness. Elithar were communal, their minds lightly linked, sharing emotions like a soft tide. Alone, Veyra felt like half a soul, her thoughts echoing in a void. She spoke to the stars sometimes, pretending they were her kin, but they never answered. Hope, once a bright flame, had dwindled to a flicker she barely recognized. The hum grew louder, vibrating through the ground. Veyra crouched behind a toppled pillar, her violet eyes scanning the horizon. A sleek vessel broke through the haze, its hull glinting under the starlight. It was human, she realized, recognizing the blocky design from fragments of Elithar archives. Humans were rare in this sector, explorers or scavengers, often as dangerous as the harvesters. Her instinct screamed to run, but her legs trembled with exhaustion. Where could she go? The ship landed with a hiss, kicking up clouds of ash. A hatch opened, and a figure stepped out, a human, clad in a worn exosuit, his face shielded by a visor. Veyra held her breath as the human scanned the ruins. His movements were cautious, not predatory, but she didn't trust it. She'd seen what desperation did to survivors. The human paused, his visor tilting toward her hiding spot. "I know you're there," he called, his voice muffled but gentle. "I'm not here to hurt you." Veyra's heart raced. She could stay silent, hope he'd leave, but something in his tone, a warmth she hadn't heard in years, made her hesitate. Slowly, she stood, her frail form exposed. The human lowered his scanner, his visor clearing to reveal a weathered face, brown eyes wide with surprise. "My God," he whispered. "You're alive." His name was Caleb, a freelance surveyor mapping dead worlds for salvage. He wasn't supposed to find survivors, especially not an Elithar, a species declared extinct. Veyra expected him to call for backup, to treat her like a specimen, but instead, he offered her water from his canteen. She drank greedily, the liquid soothing her cracked throat. Caleb watched, his expression unreadable. "What's your name?" he asked. She told him, her voice hoarse from disuse. He nodded, as if it mattered. "I'm alone out here," he said. "You can come with me, if you want." Veyra stared, suspicion warring with the ache for connection. She nodded, not because she trusted him, but because she had nothing left to lose. Life on Caleb's ship, the Driftwing, was a study in contrasts. It was cramped, cluttered with tools and data slates, but it was warm, alive with the hum of engines and the scent of recycled air. Caleb gave her a spare jumpsuit, too big for her slight frame, and a cot in the cargo bay. He didn't push her to talk, sensing her wariness. Instead, he shared his meals, nutrient bars and reconstituted stew, and told her stories of Earth, of oceans and forests, things Veyra could barely imagine. Slowly, she began to speak, sharing fragments of her life before the end. Caleb listened, his eyes softening with an emotion she couldn't name, but trust was a fragile thing, and their challenges were many. Veyra's body, weakened by years of malnutrition, struggled to adapt to the ship's artificial gravity. She collapsed one day, her vision blurring, and woke to find Caleb tending her with a medkit, his hands steady but his face etched with worry. "You're not built for this," he admitted. "But we'll figure it out." He rigged a nutrient drip, studied Elithar biology from fragmented data, and adjusted the ship's environment to mimic Solara's atmosphere. It wasn't perfect, but it kept her alive. Another challenge was Veyra's fear. Nightmares plagued her, visions of harvesters tearing through her family. She'd wake screaming, her bioluminescence flaring, lighting the cargo bay like a beacon. Caleb would sit with her, not touching, just talking about stars, about his sister back on Earth, about anything to ground her. "You're not alone anymore," he'd say, and she wanted to believe him, but fear was a stubborn ghost. She worried, too, that she was a burden, that Caleb would tire of her. When she voiced this, he shook his head. "I'd been drifting for years," he said. "You're the first thing that's felt like purpose." Their biggest trial came when Caleb's scanner picked up a harvester signal, faint but approaching. Veyra froze, her body trembling as memories flooded back. Caleb's face hardened. "They're not supposed to be here," he muttered, plotting a course to evade them. But the harvesters were faster, their drones locking onto the Driftwing's signature. Caleb strapped Veyra into the co-pilot's seat, his voice calm despite the sweat on his brow. "We're getting out of this," he promised. The chase was relentless, the drones firing pulses that grazed the ship's hull. Veyra, paralyzed at first, found her voice, guiding Caleb through Zalara's asteroid field, a maze she'd navigated as a child. Her knowledge, paired with his piloting, bought them time to jump to hyperspace, leaving the drones behind to eye in the quiet that followed. Veyra realized something had changed. She wasn't just surviving, she was fighting, choosing to live. Caleb looked at her, his usual grin replaced by something deeper. "You saved us," he said. She shook her head, tears welling. "You saved me first." They sat there, the ship's hum wrapping around them, and Veyra felt the first true warmth in her chest since Solara fell months past, and Veyra grew stronger, her glow returning. She and Caleb Elithar songs, their notes resonating through the ship Driftwing. Caleb taught her to read star charts, and she marveled at the universe's vastness. But a question lingered: where did she belong? Zalara was gone, and Earth, for all Caleb's stories, was alien. One night, as they orbited a violet nebula, Caleb broached the subject. "I'm heading back to Earth," he said. "But I don't want to go alone." "Stay with me, Veyra, stay with me forever." His voice cracked, raw with hope and fear. Veyra's breath caught. Forever was a human word, heavy with promises, but it stirred something in her Elithar soul. She thought about the ruins of her past, of the loneliness that had nearly broken her, and then of Caleb, the human who'd seen her, not as a relic, but as a person. "I'll stay," she said, her glow brightening. "But only if you sing with me." He laughed, and they sang, a clumsy blend of Elithar harmony and human melody, a new song for a new home. Their journey to Earth wasn't the end of their challenges, but Veyra faced them with Caleb beside her. She learned to navigate human customs, her glow drawing awe and suspicion alike. Caleb stood by her, her anchor in a strange world. They faced prejudice from those who saw Veyra as an outsider, but her courage and Caleb's unwavering support carved a place for her. Together, they shared Zalara's story, a testament to resilience and the bonds that defy even the stars. As Veyra stood on a hill overlooking Earth's green expanse, she felt the weight of her journey, not just the loss, but the love that had carried her through. She had no home, no clothes, no hope, until a human whispered words that remade her world. Her glow pulsed softly, a light not just for her, but for all who'd lost their way. And in that moment, she knew, hope wasn't a place, it was a promise, fragile but fierce, kept alive by those who choose to stay.